Hi all, welcome back to C++ tutorial on Tute Fulcrum. This session is on the constructors in C++ programming language. Constructors are special member function of a class that gets invoked or called automatically by the compiler, and it has few characteristics. A constructor has the same name as that of the class and they do not have any return value. There are three types of constructors in C++: default constructors, parameterized constructors, and copy constructor. So let's take a program and understand what a constructor is and the types of constructors. So let's first create our class. Let's say we have our class. Let's call it as Tute Fulcrum. To this class, let's add few entities. Let's say we have a data member X, and we know that we cannot initialize the data member directly. We need to take the help of a member function. So what we normally do, we add a member function. Let's call it as setX. And through this setX function, we can initialize the value of the data member X. Let's say we are going to initialize it as 10. And then we can add one more member function. Let's call this as display. So when you invoke this display function, let it print the value of the data member X. So let's say cout. Let's print X is equal to X. So this is familiar to you, how we create a class, how we add data members, how we add member functions to a class. And how do we invoke this? Let's say we are going to invoke our class by creating an object to it within the main function. So let's say we have an object by name obj. So through this object, first I'm going to invoke the set function. So if I'm not calling this function, the data member X will remain uninitialized. That means this X is going to end up with some junk value. So after calling the setX function, I'm calling the display. So this is our code. We have the class Tute Fulcrum, and within our class I have made all the entities as public. So we have the data member X, and we have a member function setX which is initializing the value of X to 10, and we have a display function that is displaying the value of X. Now within the main we have created our object obj, and through this object we are calling the setX function. So when you call the setX function, X is initialized with 10. So here this setX function, suppose if you fail to call the setX function, it is the programmer's responsibility to invoke the setX function. So if you are failing to invoke the setX function, the X value will be uninitialized. That means by default it is going to hold some junk value. So suppose if you are not invoking the set function, you're directly calling the display function. So obj.display will call this function, and if you try to print the value of X, it's very clear that X is going to have some junk value. Let me run and show this to you. So you could see the output here for X, it is holding a value of 2, which is a garbage because we have not initialized any value to our X because we are not invoking the setX function. So by default it has taken a garbage value. So here comes the role of a constructor. We can avoid setting the data members with garbage values, making use of the constructor. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to replace this setX function using a constructor. So we are going to create a constructor to our class. So what is the property of a constructor? The constructor name should be the same name as that of the class. So it's a function. So that function name is the same name as that of your class. So what is our class name? Tute Fulcrum. So the function name also should be the same. And the constructor function cannot return a value. So you cannot specify any return value here, not even void. So after this, and as of now, let our constructor function is not going to work with any parameters. So let it not take any parameters, and let me initialize the value of x here. So this function Tute Fulcrum, which is the same name as that of your class, is the constructor of your class. Now, what is the advantage of working with constructor? The programmer do not have to invoke the constructor function. Then how does it get invoked? The constructor function gets invoked automatically by the compiler the moment you create an object to your class. So Tute Fulcrum obj, we have created an object to our class. So the moment you create your object, this statement invokes the constructor. So you have created object obj, this invokes the constructor. Means what is happening within the constructor? What is the body of the function? X is initialized with a value of 10. So after creating your object, if you directly call the display function, your X is not going to have a garbage value. It has the initialized value 10. So this is the importance of a constructor to your class. So let's run and verify our output. So you could see the output here. X holds the value 10, which is the initialized value, and it is done by the help of a constructor. Now we have discussed that constructors are of three types: default, parameterized, and copy constructor. The constructor that you have created just now is a default constructor. A default constructor do not take any arguments, or there are no parameters to a default constructor. So now let's see what a parameterized constructor is. So from the word meaning, or from the word or the name, you can easily make out that a parameterized constructor is a constructor that works with parameters. So I'm going to modify this default constructor to a parameterized constructor. So let's change this. Let's create our parameterized constructor. So I need to add a argument here. Let's say a. So this is like the concept of a normal function. Only thing is that it has few characteristics. As said, the name should be the same name as that of the class, and you cannot return any value. So this statement you will have to modify. Instead of a constant value, you have to specify the formal parameter name. X is equal to a. Now how do you invoke? So we have seen that a constructor is invoked the moment you create an object to the class. So when you create your object, at this point itself, you can pass the argument to your parameterized constructor. So what happens in this statement when you say Tute Fulcrum obj of 10? This 10 is passed and it is received by the parameter a. So x is initialized with a, means x is initialized with a value of 10. So this is parameterized constructor. So let's run and verify our output. So as expected, it is giving you an output as x is equal to 10. So this is how a parameterized constructor works. So make use of constructors in your program. It's very useful. So that was about the default constructor and parameterized constructor in C++. Copy constructor we will discuss in the next session. So keep watching. Thank you so much. Please do like, share, comment and subscribe. And please don't forget to tap the bell icon. You'll get notified whenever we upload a new videos. Thank you.